Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated, they go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar's right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome to Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. And
I'll bet some people are wondering why we're playing the pickle song, because it is not a pickle show today.
Yeah, but they probably think it's Gestalt Gardner with Felder.
It's because when we got to the studio, I noticed that my partner on the radio show, Malcolm White, has on a pickle hat.
I have my pickle hat on.
And this Saturday is International Pickle Day, and I know where I'll find you.
You know it. Having grown up in the pickle capital of the world, that's Wiggins, Mississippi, I am quite the pickle enthusiast. So today, even though it's not yet International Pickle Day, that's May 16, we are celebrating in advance. And speaking of pickles, the Mississippi Pickle Festival will be June 13 and 14 this year at the Mississippi Ag, Forestry, and Aviation Museum on Lakeland Drive.
And you already know what you're going to wear.
Well, at least I know what I'm wearing on my head. All righty, lots to get to. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so belated Happy Mother's Day, you mothers.
Happy Restful Monday to all you restaurateurs.
Absolutely. My wife made a fabulous meal of shrimp and pasta. The shrimp were sautéed in a lemon, white wine, garlic, butter sauce, and tossed in with some tomatoes, tossed in some pasta, and it was delish. She also roasted some asparagus in the oven with some salt, pepper, and a bit of garlic. That was also tasty, and we had some beautiful bread that she baked. So that's what I had for dinner last night and lunch again today. I love a leftover.
Well, we were kind of thinking along the same lines. You were on the shrimp scampi boat, mm-hmm. and we were on the shrimp Alfredo. So I made John his favorite dish, which is fettuccine Alfredo with shrimp.
Now, this past Saturday, I attended the Greek Festival here in Jackson at the Holy Trinity St. John the Theologian Orthodox Christian Church. That's on Pear Orchard Road and Old Canton Road. And I had a blast. There was dancing, there was pastries, which, Carol, you were gifted pastries from the festival. I ran into some of my favorite Greek restaurateurs. Jerry Kontouras was there, formerly of Mayflower, overseeing the kitchen, and John Dennery from Dennery's restaurant was in attendance, and he did some dancing. And there's a video of it. If you go to Greek Fest, Jackson, Mississippi, you can see John out there doing some Greek, it looks like Zorba the Greek style dancing. But the food was delicious. The festivities and hospitality was divine. There was also the woman who oversaw the pastries. I couldn't catch her name, but she is of Vasilio's Greek cuisine in Madison.
Love their fish.
Fabulous. She was there with her two sons, And I tried to get some info out of her about maybe coming on the show in the future, but we're still working on that. So anyway, that's in the news. Also, our fabulous chef friend Taylor Bowen Ricketts will be headlining the Natchez Food and Wine Festival coming up July 24 and 25.
And Taylor is chef owner of Fan and Johnny's in Greenwood, and it's just a delight. If you love great food, you will love Taylor Bowen Ricketts' food.
She's the best. And if you want more information about the upcoming Natchez Food and Wine Fest, you just simply go to natchezfoodandwine.com. That is July 24 and 25 in Natchez, of course.
Got to plan ahead.
Got to get way ahead there. Shout out to Chef Dalton Ferguson of Elvy's. He has been crowned the King of Mississippi Seafood 2026, and he will now move on to compete nationally in the competition in New Orleans in August. So I think our friend Erica Lipe won that last year or the year before.
I think she did. Robert St. John won it
way
back when. We've had several people. And hey, did you see that Tavi on the Gulf Coast, and we had them on the show.
Tavi and Shannon.
Yeah, they were named the highest rated restaurant in the state by...
I think it was the Sun Herald. Or
You'd think there was some home cooking?
Well, it's well, I haven't been yet because I haven't been to the coast since we had them on, but a lot of buzz about that place, Tavi's, and really looking forward to getting in there when the time is right. Bad news for Rodney Scott in his barbecue operations, Carol. You know, he originally from Hemingway, South Carolina, a family-owned and operated barbecue place, expanded, did a huge corporate expansion, opened in Atlanta, Nashville, Charleston, and I think three stores in Birmingham. But in the news, they're talking. I think they've already closed.
Yeah, several of them. We're not sure. It's kind of up in the air. Looking on the internet, some are permanently closed, some are temporarily closed. So
but
there you go.
What a bummer for Rodney Scott and his
Rodney
family.
Scott is just the king of whole hog. And you and I got to meet his son when he was touring with their cookbook, which is a fabulous cookbook.
Yeah, I was thinking about that cookbook. I've forgotten the name of it.
Rodney Scott Cookbook.
Oh, just Rodney Scott. Okay.
Something like that.
Anyway.
But I think that the younger Rodney Scott actually was working in New York in the financial sector and came home to. So we hope all this gets pulled together because
absolutely
wonderful, wonderful people.
Okay, well, here's what's happening on the show today, Carol. We are going up to Enid.
We are, in our minds.
Well, we're going via Zoom and in our minds. I had seen some posts about a place called the Enid Depot, and primarily coming from my great friend Casey Ray Lipe, our mutual great friend, musician. This guy knows about music. He knows about food. He knows about hospitality. He is father to Chef Erica Lipe of Sola Oxford, which is the hottest restaurant in Oxford and a very hot restaurant town. And Erica is nailing it over there. But anyway, Casey Ray told me about this place, and I saw that he was actually performing there. I think he has live music. We're going to find out more about that after the break. So we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to Enid. So Deep South Dining Podcast is now brought to you by Mississippi Red Pepper Sauce. You can discover more about that at msredpeppersauce.com. So we appreciate that, and we will take a short break, and we will return with Brent Tippitt from the Enid Depot. More Deep South Dining coming right at you.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back to Deep South Dining. Malcolm White, Carol Palmer, right here on MPB Think Radio. Thanks for tuning in today. Now, Carol, out in the piney, half-forgotten edges of Enid, Mississippi, where the air feels like it's been still since 1973, and every porch has seen something it refuses to explain, there squats the Enid Depot, like a brick time capsule with unresolved emotional issues. This building didn't just exist, it survived out of spite. Originally a general store, of course, the depot rose up in the early 20th century with thick brick walls and heavy timber bones, built like it expected either a tornado or a dramatic betrayal. It watched trains come streaming through when the railroad still meant something, back when Enid was a living, breathing stop instead of a dot you miss if you blink too confidently.
Beautiful, Malcolm. And there are just some great words there, especially that it survived out of spite.
And so, with that, we welcome to the show Brent Tippitt, the owner-operator of the Enid Depot. Hello, Brent.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, we can hear you.
We can hear you and we can see you. And
we can see that you are in the joint as we speak.
I am. This is my home here. Beautiful building built in 1907, and it has a lot of history. You know, the great thing about this building that I love the most is in 1907, Enid didn't have electricity, so it survived off of skylights and different things like that for lighting and candles and stuff like that. Electricity didn't even come to this town until 1941. So if you can imagine, wow. They ran a general store here for whatever that is, 30-something years without electricity, and so that speaks volume for the way this place was built.
And it's a location is on what road, highway, intersection? Where exactly is it?
Well, it's downtown Enid. So most people, when they think of Enid, they just know the lake.
Right.
But there is a town of Enid, and it's around. It's actually off of 51, and it's over by the railroad tracks. So the town basically grew because of the railroad, and when the railroad industry kind of when cotton stopped being transported on the railroad, and the workers stopped coming back and forth on the railroad, the town, slowly started dying. And that happened in the really late 1970s, early 1980s. The railroad basically dried up, and so did business. And so most of your businesses kind of left. So it's just, there's nothing left here.
When you found the building, correct me if I'm wrong, it was already a restaurant?
Yes, sir. The guy who owned the building before me, he bought it in 2007, and he did a lot of the rehab.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of the decorating. He tried several businesses to try to, and nothing really seemed to work. He had a jazz hall here for a while, a music hall. He had a beer bar here because he had a beer permit. He tried doing some, like a furniture store, like an antique store, several things, and nothing really stuck. And then I guess 2019, right before COVID, he started off he tried to do a restaurant, and he started off trying to do sandwiches. And so my kitchen, for example, is it's really built to be more like a place where you go get a Philly cheesesteak, and it's not really, it doesn't really work, but we make it work for what we do. And so it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of challenges in that way.
Yeah.
And so COVID came, he closed down. When he reopened it after COVID, he started doing dinners and started serving steaks, and he did that, ran through 4 or 5 chefs, and nobody would stick around long enough. And finally, me and my wife stumbled in here, and it just so happened that we came on the last night they were open, and someone told him who I was, and he called me up 10 days later and asked if I would sell it, because I sold commercial real estate as well. And me and my wife just bought it.
Just like that. Now, you were in the market for land, but you ended up with a restaurant. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. Me and my wife, we have a house in Olive Branch, and in 2021, we were, sitting in our living room talking, having a discussion, and basically within a 2-block radius of where we lived at in Olive Branch, there was like 6 or 7 major crimes that happened, and me and my wife just decided, hey, maybe we're not really meant to be city people. Maybe we should become country folks.
And you did. And Malcolm, how I love to back up.
Oh,
I want to back up a bit here, Brent, because we have not only the people who are listening to us live, but we have people around the world who listen to our podcast. And I want to just kind of set the stage geographically for them to let them know, what the heck we're talking about. So Enid,
you think we know what the heck we're talking about?
Locate Enid on the map for us.
Well, if you're looking at I-55 from Jackson to South Haven, it's kind of right in the middle. It's about we're about an hour and 25 minutes south of South Haven, and about 2 hours north of Jackson, maybe hour and 45 minutes north of Jackson.
So it's sort of between Memphis and Jackson.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and you've become a real destination because of that. But, a lot of people know Enid because also Enid Lake, which is one of the great crappie lakes in the world.
That's right. That's right. So there's 3 main lakes right here. If you go 20 minutes north of us, you have Sardis Lake. If you go 20 minutes south of us, you have Grenada Lake. And then right in the middle is the small one, Enid Lake, which is the more, it's the people who come here are the ones that don't really want to deal with the knuckleheads at the other 2 lakes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, they also come, I've read before that they come from all over the world to fit the big 4, and they put Arcabutla in there too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's, and how far away is that?
Well, that's in Hernando. So, keep in mind, Arcabutla has been shut down for 2.5, 3 years now.
Wow.
So they drained the lake and closed the dam to do work on that one. So nobody goes to Arcabutla right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and also big deal that Enid holds the world crappie record since 1957.
And my question is, do you have any stuffed crappie on the walls there at the restaurant?
No. When I bought the place, there's one stuffed deer head, and we kept it for sentimental reasons. But no, sir, there's no
crappie. No. So
well, the world record was 5 pounds, and it was 21 inches. Yeah, I think you need a stuffed crappie. Just to keep
there
the
is a
theme
stuffed
going.
crappie. We actually have seen that fish. There's a picture of it. When you get off the interstate at Enid, there's a fish hatchery right off the interstate there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right before you come onto the campground parks, to the Corps of Engineer land. And inside that building, there's a picture of the crappie, and there's all the information of the history of that, significant catch.
Well, we know just from checking around that you are a history buff, and you've really done a lot of preservation work up there. So we want you to preserve the crappie as well.
That's something I need to look into for sure.
So where are you actually from, Brent? What's your background? I know you went to culinary school in Vegas. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I'm from Hernando.
Okay.
So I'm 45 minutes up the railroad track, and I grew up there. Basically lived there most of my life. I went, had a few times I left. I went to Europe for a year as an exchange student in high school. Came back, went to Mississippi State for several years. Came back, went to Northwest Community College for culinary school for a couple of years. Then I, went out to Las Vegas and went full time in the culinary, and did that until basically 2011. I went from fine dining, and then the 2008 market crash happened. I worked at the time. I was working for Erling Jensen.
Yeah,
and
what a
also
great Memphis history.
Yes, ma'am. So Erling is the #1 gourmet chef in Memphis for like 10 years. Well, probably 15 years or so running. And I worked for him for several years, and I also did the corporate cooking for First Tennessee Bank downtown. Probably the coolest restaurant in Memphis. It was on the 23rd floor of the downtown building. And in 2008, the market crashed. And before it crashed, they called me into the CEO and the CFO called me into the office and said, "Hey, pack up everything. You're not coming back." And,
Wow.
And it wasn't like I got fired. It was more like, because that was probably the best food in Memphis that we served there for lunch for all the bankers and all the big wigs they were trying to impress. And this was a Friday afternoon. They said, "Hey, you're not coming back. Go get whoever you need to pack up your stuff." Monday they were auctioning off everything in the kitchen on eBay.
Wow.
So that was in April of 2008. And I remember having a conversation with Erling that I was, one of the highest paid employees that he had. And I said, maybe this is, something's going on. Maybe I need to, look at other avenues, because you might not be able to afford me much longer. And sure enough, the next week, Rhodes College called me and offered me a job as the catering director. And so I went over, worked at Rhodes, and after the tornadoes in Jackson, I went up to Union University and helped them out for a year. And then I came back and helped the University of Memphis open up the new student center. And that was in 2010, 11. And after that, honestly, I lost my job because I was the highest paid employee when in the height of the recession, and found myself selling houses for the next 10 years. So I sold real estate from 2012 all the way up until I bought this restaurant. And
I think you've earned your stripes in the kitchen.
Well, I did it for a long time, and I worked for some great chefs, worked under some great mentors in Vegas and in Memphis. And when me and my wife stumbled across this place, obviously I had some reservations. Can I still do it? You know,
right.
I'd been out of the kitchen for 10 years and it was a challenge, you know, to get back in there and do it. And then you know, obviously it's a lot easier, you know, as a chef to spend other people's money. It's a little bit different when you're spending your own money and making decisions based off of cash flow and stuff like that.
Right. So would you say that you are primarily a steakhouse? Is that your calling
yes,
card?
sir, we are. You know, when I took this place over, so me and my wife came in here in September of 22 to eat dinner. And 2 weeks later, they called me up to sell the place for them. And we took it over November 1st of that year. So they were closed for about 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks. And at the time, they were a steakhouse. And it was basically they were competing against, Marshall Steakhouse. They were competing against Como Steakhouse and some of the other steakhouses around. And they were just trying to do the same thing.
Right.
It was just steak on a plate, doing the same thing, steak and potatoes, something that everybody loves. And what I knew stepping into this was I didn't need to run off customers. They had a client base.
Good thinking,
Don't
Brent.
confuse the customers.
Yes.
Don't confuse the customers. Exactly. So what I did was the very first thing I did, the very first weekend I was here, it was about me learning their menu, what they had on their menu, learning it. And there was some things that I'd never even heard of before, and, so I needed to master their menu. And then the second weekend I started offering specials, and it started off just being one special every weekend that I would do. I would do something that was a little bit off the menu, just something totally different. I started bringing in a lot of wild game stuff. Started bringing in a lot of fish. We've been here 3.5 years now, and I think I've served probably 90 or so different species of fish. We've served every kind of wild game that we can get our hands on. And those doing that, we do that every weekend. We pick something new. It has attracted a lot of people from a lot of different places. And that's honestly how we started really building our clientele, was through weekly specials of doing something completely off menu. Now, we also served our normal menu, which was steaks and potatoes. 95% of our customers come in because we have steak and potatoes. A few people order salmon or redfish or something like that, but it is, for the most part, just a steakhouse.
Right.
And, we can't really get too far away from steaks because, one, my kitchen's not set up big enough for me to do fine dining.
Right.
Just to tell you, I mean, my stove back there is a griddle designed for cooking
Philly steak sandwiches.
And I'm cooking steaks on a sandwich griddle. So, but I make it work. That's actually the way French kitchens are.
Right.
That's how they cook on a griddle like that as well. So I kind of at least had some idea how to make it work, even though it's not the way it's supposed to work. Most steakhouses will cook. Ma'am?
I'm sorry. You were voted best steakhouse in Mississippi 2025 by the Mississippi Beef Council and Cattlemen's Association. And in 2026, you've been named the most iconic steakhouse in Mississippi. So what makes an Enid Depot steak so notable?
Well, I mean, I guess the number one thing is that, you have somebody who cares about food cooking your food. That might be part of it. The other thing is when you have somebody that knows food, cooking food, and someone who loves to serve people cooking food, it does add an element that you can't get anywhere else. I mean, when you're looking at, I mean, just to kind of give you an example, if you go to and I'm going to use a franchise as an example. If you go get a steak, let's just say from Texas Roadhouse, the guy cooking your steak is an hourly employee. He doesn't care if you like it or not. All he cares about is getting a paycheck and going home and feeding his family. That you can get a great steak from that place. But when you have somebody who cares about what they're doing, they care about the customer experience, they care about, flavors and adding flavors and all those things, it changes everything about the food. And that's what we do here. So it is a different environment for having a steak because you have people here, for example, I'm not just the owner. I'm the guy who's back there cooking the steak.
Right. Means everything.
We have a mutual friend in Mike Wagner, who owns Two Brooks Farm and furnishes rice to stores and great cooks. And he said that you were an ace in the kitchen. I was asking him if you used his rice, and he said, indeed.
I do. Mike's a good friend. He's become a good friend. I met Mike, I guess, he has a house in Enid on the lake, and he also, his farm is only about, I guess about an hour away from here. And he comes in when he's in town and eats quite often. I will tell you, he's never actually had my steak. He only eats fish.
Well,
there you go.
So if I want Mike Wagner to come around, I just post a picture of his rice with the fish, and he shows up.
That's good. That's good.
But that's what he loves. He loves the fact that I do cook a lot of fish that he can't get anywhere else, because he loves to go to the coast to eat fresh fish, and he loves the fact that our fish is just as fresh because I get a lot of it flown in. And that's something he absolutely loves. So it's great.
All right, let's take a little short break here and come back. We'll have another whole segment with Brent from the Enid Depot up in Enid, Mississippi. Famous steakhouse. It also does a variety of other things, which I'm excited to hear about. So we'll take a short break. Carol and I will be right back with Brent, and we'll talk more about the Enid Depot. We appreciate you listening. Stay tuned.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hey, you're listening to Deep South Dining here on MPB Think Radio. Malcolm White with Carol Palmer. We are glad that you are here. Deep South Dining podcast is brought to you by Mississippi Red Pepper Sauce. Discover more at msredpeppersauce.com. Mississippi Red Pepper Sauce is handcrafted, fermented hot sauce with a balanced heat and a rich flavor made from local Mississippi peppers and all natural ingredients. All right, today on the show, we're having a big time talking.
Yes, we are.
About the Enid Depot up in Enid, Mississippi.
And we got to go now.
Absolutely. We got to go on the road.
Brent, it's really cool to see you and see the restaurant in the background. What a great looking place.
Thank you.
Yeah, I operated a restaurant for a long time in an old depot in downtown Jackson, so I know about old depots. They're haunted.
That would be
howling
mouths.
So, do you have live? You do have live music, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, sir. When I bought the place, the guy I bought it from, he had musicians lined up through the end of the year, and every Saturday he built the stage up here, and every Saturday he had somebody up here playing. And we found that in this part of the world, there's not very much entertainment. So you can go out to eat, but there's not like a movie theater anywhere nearby. There's not, besides going to the lake or going hunting, there's not a whole lot of just live entertainment. So Saturdays was a great night just to offer that to our guests of just having somebody sing. And we just rotated musicians, and honestly, we just kept it going after when we took it over, because it worked. It's just people like to have. Now we do limit who we bring in here, because we don't want this place to be like a bar scene.
Right.
It's an upscale steakhouse. So primarily we have acoustic guitars with vocals, piano. We get Lucas Lee in, who's a great pianist. We get Casey Lipe, obviously he plays the saxophone. So sometimes it's a duo, because like Casey will play with a guitar player or a piano player. But most of the time it's just a single artist, singing, trying to build their name. There's been a lot of artists that have come through here that they were heard by somebody else who was dining, and they kind of, helped their career out a lot. So it's a cool place for that, because there's a lot of people coming in here, because we're kind of a melting pot of, people who don't want to eat in Oxford. They all come over here. People who don't want to eat in Clarksdale, they all come over here. Greenwood, Greenville, Cleveland, even, Grenada. We draw from all these different locations, and your business people. So
yeah,
it's a great location.
You have a full bar though, right?
No, we have no bar.
No bar. Okay.
No, we actually
they fully have no bar.
We fully have no bar. So we actually just got our liquor license this year. So the way it kind of works, if you're not in the city limits, you have to go and get a resort license. And that's a little bit more tricky nowadays than it used to be. For us to get a liquor license, we had to jump through a bunch of hoops. One, we had to get the building on the historic register.
Right.
So we did that. That took me almost 2 years to do. And then once we got that kind of going, and then the ABC officer was like, well, I mean, you're just a steakhouse. Well, that's not a resort. And I was like, well, the way, if you look at our dining room, we can do big events, and thankfully we do a lot of big events. We'll have 100 to 130 guests come in for dinner at one time. So that's a banquet. So we can hold banquets. And the guy was like, well, are people really driving there? And so I went out in one weekend into our parking lot and took pictures of license plates. And we had, 48 counties and 6 states in our parking lot. And the guy was like blown away. And so then he, started saying, okay, now we can get a resort license, because obviously a resort, you're a destination place.
Right.
And that kind of changed. That's what changed the game for us even to be able to get a liquor license, because they didn't want to give us one.
Well, yeah, the good old Alcoholic Beverage Control Division trying to keep us
with the word
from buying
control.
and selling alcohol.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
Figure that one out, folks. There's your state tax commission at work for you.
Okay, I have a question.
What you got, Carol?
Okay. While you really intrigued me when you said you do all these different fish dishes. So during the break, I clicked on your Facebook page, and I'm wondering if you ever repeat dishes, because I found one that I think, Malcolm, we need to go for.
What you got?
Halibut poached in bouillabaisse.
Ooh.
With scallops, mussels, shrimp, and baby langoustines over Tallahatchie Blue jasmine rice from Two Brooks Farm.
How about that? That's a home run.
That's a good dish. It really is. And Mike Wagner came and ate that. Actually.
You posted that, and Mike came directly in.
That's right.
That looks great.
Yeah. Do you repeat dishes?
Yes, ma'am. So what we do, as far as the fish dishes go, there's only a couple of fishes that mainstream people know about. Halibut's one of them.
Right.
Grouper's one of them. Sea bass.
Salmon.
Yeah. And that's, once you get past out of those, people are more like, maybe I don't want to try that. They're like, that may be a fishy flavor or something like that. And so we have to keep rotating the core ones. And I do change up how I serve it. Halibut's always a beautiful fish to poach, so I do poach it most of the time. Grouper, for example, is always great, in a piccata type style dish. Mm-hmm. Sea bass, just take a piece of sea bass and sear it, and you get the caramelization on it, and it's great. So every fish has a different way it likes to be cooked, and with halibut, poaching it in fish stock, lobster stock, mm-hmm. Chicken stock, even with some butter, and it becomes a beautiful dish. And so like the bouillabaisse, I love that because I love I love to develop flavors. And, that's one of the things that's a lot different about our place than most, just random, normal steakhouses. I make stocks every single week. Chicken stock, veal stock, lobster stock, shrimp stock, whatever. We make these stocks so that we can develop flavors. And once you have those flavors starting to develop, then you can make a variety of different sauces out of them. And so, like, for example, with bouillabaisse, bouillabaisse is made from, making a lobster stock, and then you add some tomato to it and some more vegetables to it, and you make it into almost like a soup.
Right.
And then you can, do some different stuff with it. And in this case, adding a bunch of shellfish to it, adding some rice to soak it up in a nice piece of bread, and you got yourself a very nice dish. So we love to do those kind of things. And
do you get all of your seafood from a single vendor? How difficult is it for you? Do you get it out of Memphis, Jackson? Where does it come from? Because you're featuring a lot of seafood.
Well, when I was working in Memphis, I had a very good relationship with Off the Docks. That was American Seafood before it was Off the Docks, and some other people. Cassidy, Fine Foods, and all those people. They will get me in whatever I want. I'll make a phone call and they'll say, you know, you can do that in 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. So that kind of works because they know that I can, you know, sell whatever they have to get. And so they're our primary place for getting seafood. We do have some people that try to come up from the coast and sell. I would say that that's a lot harder to do because, you know, now we have to do a lot more tracking of where was it, you know, time and temperature and all those things. You can't really just buy seafood out of the back of somebody's truck. They have to, you know, they have to have a business. They have to have a license. We have to track everything. We have to know where they bought it from, and it gets a lot more complicated. So buying from a reputable supplier like Off the Docks makes it easier for me because most of your big companies on the coast, they don't want to drive to Enid. We're too far north.
A little bit too far north.
So,
do you fool with catfish at all?
No, sir, I do not fool with catfish. And and I have customers all the time who say, "Why don't you have catfish on the menu?" And there's 2 reasons. One, I will tell you, growing up, my mom used to like to eat catfish 4 nights a week, and I got sick of it. And then the other reason is there's 2 catfish businesses right around the corner from me.
Yeah, why bother?
I'm not a business person who likes to steal other people's customers.
Right.
If you want catfish, go to the 2 people that are right next to us that cook catfish and enjoy a nice meal there.
There you go.
You mentioned doing big groups in there. I saw on your website that you had a price fix menu for groups. Are those tour groups, fishing groups, weddings? What type of events are going on?
Well, this last year we did several large wedding parties, you know, rehearsal dinners or whatever, you know, groups of 7,500 people. We also did some galas. We did the Naomi Ministry Gala here. They had 130 people. So what we do with those big events is we serve them some appetizers. Everybody gets a salad. Everybody gets an entree. It's a plated meal. We don't do buffets. So, and then everybody gets dessert. So, and with the entrees, when you're doing that kind of stuff, you always have to have 2 proteins on a plate. Because if you get into trying to get everybody's order, it's never going to get out of the kitchen. So,
the sandwich kitchen.
The sandwich kitchen. That's right. So we try to make it as simple as possible, and for the customer and obviously the host. You know, when you're trying to host an event like that, you know, you want to minimize your stress level as much as you can because you got 1,000 decisions to make, and you want to make a 0 on the food. You want me to take care of it and just make it happen for you.
That's right. So, talk about your hours of operation and reservations. Are they required? How can people make reservations?
Yes, we are reservation only. We did that from the very beginning. That's how the person we bought it from, they had it as reservations suggested. And what we found is this: we're in the middle of nowhere. We're literally, you know, you're 15 minutes from Batesville. You're 25 minutes from Grenada. So we're not very far from places, but we're not on the main strip. We don't have a traffic count of 20 or 30,000 cars passing by.
Right.
Today, if we had 15 cars pass by, I would be surprised. You know, so with that, we need to know people are coming. So that's why we did reservations only, because, you know, I don't need to have a staff here for 2 hours waiting on one two-top that may or may not show up. So the best for us to really kind of, and those are mostly your slower nights, but the other problem is that I only have 30 tables in this restaurant. 30 tables can fill up really quick, and we have no bar to sit at. We have no place for anybody to sit. So are you going to stick around if there's not a table available for you?
Right.
Probably
Yeah, you
not.
wouldn't want somebody driving from Memphis or from an hour and a half away and not be able to eat.
That's right. And our average customer drives 45 to an hour and a half to get here one way.
Right.
That's our average customer every single night we're open. And so we want to make it where, we know you're coming. We want to prepare a table for you, put the menus out, all that stuff. And so that when you walk in the door, you're going right to your table. You're not having to wait, outside or in your car for us to be ready for you. We want to be ready for you. And so that it really works out well for us.
Right.
Now, we'll tell you that there's a lot of people who will still try to show up. And when we have a table available, we'll obviously serve them. But, you come in on a Saturday night, this last Saturday, we were max capacity all night long. Even Sunday, we were max capacity. So we couldn't really take a walk-in if we wanted to because, we didn't have a place to put them.
Right.
So what days are you open?
This year, we're doing Thursday through Sunday. We've played around with it. And the reason why last year, for example, we did Wednesday through Sunday, we started doing, and Wednesday was a great night. But this year, because of the ice storms, we had some major ice storms that came through back in February, and there's campgrounds all around here. You got Kosser State Park, you have Persimmon Hill, Chickasaw Hill. Those campgrounds were all basically destroyed from the ice storm. All the pine trees all snapped.
Wow.
And so they're still trying to clean all that up. They haven't cleaned that up yet. And that was the majority of the people that came to eat here on a Wednesday night was people coming in to come camp. And they'd come down to the campgrounds, drop off their RV, their camper, and come have dinner. And that was great. So, but this year they're not here. So This year we decided it was best just to do Thursday through Sunday.
All right, I got to wrap, man. Thanks so much. We appreciate you.
It's been great, Brent.
This forecast is underwritten by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi and the MyBlue mobile app for people on the go. More at bcbsms.com.
It's an area of high pressure taken on over, and for the entire lower Mississippi Valley region, we're going to be moving into a calmer weather pattern. The front that has been in place will be moving on out. Still some lingering showers or a thunderstorm near the Gulf Coast for tonight. But we are dry in South Haven tonight, our low 50s.